Good evening everybody, welcome to another video here on YouTube. This week we're V8 Veterans racing at Silverstone split number 2 tonight, and we have managed to qualify on pole in a healthy field of 36 or 38 cars I think it is. You can see them spread out around the corner. Surprised myself with my qualifying result because my fastest lap was actually a pretty average one where I was missing the apexes, but we get ready as the lights go green, revs start to rise, and I didn't actually get a very good start away from here. Wasn't overly concerned, to be honest, at this point, because my game plan was always to follow somebody in the opening part of the race and try and use it as a fuel saving strategy. So here I am in third, managed to get away from the lights relatively cleanly, and I'm tucked in behind both Travis and Todd Duggan. So at the moment, got Troy Sipple behind me, I think it is, in the blue and yellow there. So we're all about trying to get ourselves a good bit of track position here, keep the car clean, keep the incident count down early, and the focus is to stay with the leading cars out the front and just hold my position. A little bit of a brake lock-up there, and you can see the cars in front both looking pretty racy early on, so they both want to lead. They're going side by side through past the old pit sequence there. They can see the cars in front, and they are battling for position pretty hard. Come down into this right-hander. There's a lot of speed here to be carried, but you've got to be careful because the tyres aren't quite up to temperature yet, and we're still carrying a lot of fuel. So out of there pretty cleanly. Got about a 0.8 second gap to the cars in front, so I've just got to try and keep that gap between 0.5 and 0.8 for majority of the race, particularly the first start as we go through Maggots and Beckett's here on lap number 1. A little bit squirrely out of there as we make our way down onto the hanger straight for the first time, and we just put foot flat to the floor and try and stay with these guys out front without putting ourselves into a position where the car behind can have a bit of a sneaky look down the inside and challenge us for position. So you can see the guys out front. They're both battling pretty hard, as I said, having a bit of a pissing competition to see who's got the biggest dick. At the moment, side by side, a bit of a brake lock-up through there. Duggo gets a run, but Trav gets the under over and goes around to the final corner there to lead over the line for the first lap. And it's still happening in front of me, side by side, through turn number 1. So quite happy for these guys to duke it out at the moment. I'm not interested in getting in this little battle. But as you can see, the top 5 or 6 there have already broken away and made a little bit of a gap. But my focus is to stay with these guys in front and try and actually pull a gap from the cars behind. So get a reasonable run out of there. Tyres are well and truly up to temperature by this point. So we are just tucked in 2.3 behind car number 2, Travis, there in front of us. So he's got a pretty good run down the straight, and Todd's out in front by us, just over a second on us. Make our way through here again for the second time. Car's up to temperature now, the tyres are up to temperature, so feeling a lot more comfortable and a lot more confident in what the thing's going to do. We get a reasonable run out of there again. Looks like everybody's single file in the background as well, so I don't think there's too many incidents on the opening lap, and everybody's managed to sort themselves out with too much drama. Again, through that there, just try not to run wide because there is an off track and potentially a slowdown if you really push the boundaries out there. Through this sequence of right, left corners again. Really, really good feeling when you get the change of direction right and the car's just planted. So we're out to half a second gap to Travis in front, half a second gap to Troy behind us again. So sitting in the middle of nowhere at the moment, but we've got Travis's draft and Troy's got our draft, so a little bit of a draft train at the moment as we go around to complete the end of lap number 2. Make our way down here, and again you can see everybody in the background just sort of idling through without too much drama. Long race, about an hour and a half I think it was here to do the 43 odd laps that the race is tonight. Trying to stay off those sausage curbs as we make our way around to complete lap number 2. You can just see there the cars in the background just sort of all spaced out relatively evenly at the moment. So we've got ourselves a slight little gap now to the car behind as well. So I was forward here, and we're just got to focus on staying with the cars in front now, while the guys behind can hopefully trip over themselves and cause us a breakaway group. So still sitting here behind Travis at the moment. Pretty comfortable in third, and just concentrating on saving tyres, trying to save fuel, and keep the car in one piece and those off tracks down to a minimum. So move along to the next lap here now, jump on board, get a pretty good run through there, and we're just tucked underneath the back of Travis's rear wing. Get a good run onto the straight. We can see Todd out in front, gapping almost out to a second, 1.1 now, so feel like he's making a bit of a break for it, and I don't want him to drive away into the distance, leaving Travis and myself to duke it out. So go for the move down the inside here, get the job done. Travis actually gives us plenty of room, which is really good of him. Sticks his nose down there on the switchback, but just give him a car width on the inside there and get a good run out, and that's job done, so we can focus on moving forward and trying to get onto the back of Todd again. So again, move on to another couple of laps, and we've done exactly that, and we've dragged Travis with us. So you see the gap behind's now blown out to 4+ seconds, but the critical part of that was to not let Todd drive off into the distance. So get the feeling Travis is feeling a little bit racy here at the moment, and again, don't want to trip over ourselves and allow Todd to drive away into the distance. Make our way down through the last sequence of corners here. Try to stay off those red sausage curves, because they can be quite detrimental to your lap time around here. Again, that one there on the inside is a little bit of a doozy. Moving along to lap number 11 now, and we're probably got to start thinking about our pit stop, because that's coming up relatively shortly. Make our way through turn number 1, and I think Travis actually gets a really good run on us here, and has a bit of a look down the inside, so we stay far left to give him plenty of room, because we don't want to get caught up in an incident there. Long way to go in this race, and we don't want to find ourselves with any damage and a premature pit stop. So we slot back into third and tuck in underneath Travis's rear wing there. So coming down the Panger straight, we can actually roll off the throttle relatively early there and can save ourselves a fair bit of fuel and not sacrifice ourselves any time as well. So we dive into the pits here on the end of lap 14. We did actually have enough fuel to go a little bit longer, could have done another lap, but decided to stay with these guys rather than risk doing a lap by myself and actually missing them when my pit sequence happened. So we followed him into the pits here, got pretty close to the back of Travis there, but as you can see, Travis and I both pull out of the pits in front of Todd, so what we saved in fuel actually gained up during the pit stop. But unfortunately, we came out in a little bit of traffic, so Travis managed to get through relatively quickly and easily, but we're caught up here behind 3 other cars. So we try and get a run on them through here. Got to take a little bit wider line to avoid Todd, but we get a pretty good run out there, and I can just see Travis driving off into the distance again. So got to make a move relatively quick. Have a cheeky look down the inside, but luckily for us, Wayne sees us coming, gives us plenty of room. That job's done. So he tucks in behind. We've got Dave Baldock in front of us now, and again, he gives us plenty of room on the outside. These guys haven't actually pitted yet, so we'll get a run down past the old pit building again, and that's done. So we can see Travis is now 1.1 seconds down the road, but I'm pretty comfortable and confident that I can actually reel that back in as the race goes on. So we jump forward to lap 16 now. We've actually closed that gap to Travis, and we drag Todd with us. So we're back to a little party of 3. We make our way through the last sequence of corners, and the guys in race control call out a safety car. So it is a fuel conservation mode again, and we just single file it through here and pick up the pace car, the Bay 21 Coffee Bean safety car, as we come around to complete start lap 17. We'll just jump on board now and have a quick look at what actually caused that safety car. So you can see here Matty Parker in the Nova Motorsport car, they're just actually getting into the back right hand corner of Aiden Rice and tagging him and sending him off into the fence. Hard right detour, which was a pretty hard impact, and just shot away any chances of him finishing on the lead lap. So you can see here exactly what happened. Matty sort of just moves across a little bit to the left, tags Aiden, and from that point on he's just a passenger in the car. So a few other drivers there very, very lucky that he managed to keep the car off the racing line. As you can see, Aiden just slowly pulling it over with the blown engine there on the side of the track. Of course that did pull the safety car out. So safety car's back in the pits now, and we are about to restart. You can see Todd there just getting a little bit enthusiastic there going into the braking zone, so we were very lucky he didn't tag us there, but he manages to get out on the grass, but in the process cost himself a bucket load of time. And as he comes around here onto the straight, it also cost him a position there with Mario sneaking through on the outside. So he's got speed sacrifice here. Warren has a bit of a look as well, but on the wrong side of the track to make anything stick. So you just see there in the background the distance to the cars behind is 2 seconds, and the gap out to Travis again 1.1 seconds. So got a little bit of work to do, but again I'm pretty confident I've got the speed throughout the course of the race to reel that back in without too many issues. So we just got to gain ourselves another tenth or two and we're back in draft range, and then from there the car will just get towed along and we can go back to fuel saving. So keeping it nice and tight through here, we jump on board again and have a bit of a look. Lap 18 now, and again that gap to the cars behind Mario, Todd and Warren, their gaps just slowly building a little bit more, so it's becoming a bit of a two-horse race out the front. So the focus still eyes forward on Travis and just not allowing him to drive away into the distance and walk away with this one. Lap 22 now, almost at the halfway point of the race. Feeling pretty comfortable again in our ability of what lies ahead. So the last couple of races this season I've actually binned it while I was in a pretty good position, and except for the round at Barber Motorsport Park where some muppet tagged me on the inside and just turned in pretending I wasn't there. Anyway, you live and learn, and that's one for the memory bank. But Travis and myself now out to a pretty healthy lead. We dive into the pits for the second time now at I think it's the 36. No, it can't be that. Must be about the 30 lap mark. We managed to save a bit more fuel and go a little bit longer. So we're in the pits here now. You can see everybody in the background diving in as well for their final pit stop. So I'm actually in front of Travis there during the pit cycle. So I'm just watching my mirror, so when he drops, I know I can tick my box and my fuel man can stop. And that means I've got more than enough fuel to get home based on his calculations as well. So down he goes, down I go, and we follow each other out of the pits, and as a result I've actually picked up a little bit of time again there by fuel saving and making that time up in the pits. So you can see a handful of other guys follow out as well behind us, so their final pit stop is done, but out in front, pretty well tucked underneath the back of his wing here at the moment, and just watching the incident counts rack up. So you drop him another wheel off there, you can see a bit of dirt being flicked up. I spent a fair bit of time behind Travis throughout the course of the race, so I had a rough idea of how many incidents that he was building up, and I kind of thought he might have been getting pretty close to the point where you get a drive-through penalty. So all I wanted to do was keep applying a little bit of pressure without making too many risky moves. See a little bit of movement there on the straight, trying to break my draft, but just shadowing every move he makes, keeping that draft and keep the fuel consumption down. Again, pretty of a wide shot there from the grandstand, just really highlighting how far back. You can see Todd there in the background, the other Nova Motorsport Mustang. So just over 10 laps to go now. Still within draft range, and we're just rolling off the throttle, rolling through this corner here, saving fuel. See a lap car, first of the lap cars coming up in front of us, which is Dave Worrell in the Marlboro inspired Commodore livery. Again, staying off those red sausage curbs there, poor Dave plants his car right on the apex of the corner, which causes Travis to run a little bit wide through there. We get a pretty good run, and just have a bit of a cheeky look down the inside, which Travis, of course, moves across to cover off, but the move was never really on. I had no intentions of trying to make it stick. I was just moving around in his mirrors, playing mind games with him at this point. Nice and close there to the sausage curb, hitting the apex beautifully. And a little bit wide through there, just simply so we could open up that corner and get a pretty good run down through there, trying to avoid the off track both on the inside and the outside there. Again, moving across the track, trying to break that toe, but everywhere he goes, we're just following suit. So close up again under brakes, pull it tight back through there, stay off the AstroTurf because the wheels tend to spin up a little bit. Very similar lines through there that lap. So not really making a lot of headway on him here at the moment, but not pushing overly hard either, just sitting there trying to make the best of the situation we're in. So the laps are counting down. Go through to start another lap now, and we see the Commodore of Wayne in front with the other Marlboro livery up front. So all I'm trying to do is stay close enough now at the moment, so if Travis makes a move on Wayne, we're close enough to go with him. And that actually happened. You can see Wayne there in the background following us through, so Wayne actually rolled off the throttle going down the straight there, which allowed both of us to get through unimpeded, which was really good of him. So Wayne's pretty new to the series, but he's fitted in absolutely brilliantly. Like his racecraft and his attitude towards the racing is exactly what V8 Veterans is all about. So we'd rather be here for a good time than a crash fest. So moving along to the last part of the race now, and I am about half a second back from Travis, and we're down to the last couple of dying laps now, so haven't thrown in the towel. I'm still hoping I can put a bit of pressure on and he can rack up those incident points, and then might get a penalty post-race, but at the moment he hasn't put a foot wrong pretty well most of the race to cause him too much detriment, so I wouldn't expect him to do anything this late in the race as well. So we're still pushing reasonably hard, but again, don't want any brake lock-ups or cause ourselves to have a spin, or worse still, any car damage and have to limp home. Again, try and stay off that inside AstroTurf and keep it within the lines there on the exit to avoid any off tracks. I had plenty up my sleeve, so I knew that if I did push a little bit hard and sacrificed a couple on the last lap, that just might be enough to push Travis into a mistake, but to his credit, he held his nerve beautifully and is managing to tip looking pretty with half a lap to go. Again, down through here, through this sweeping right-hand corner, very easy to get an off-track, plus a potential slowdown penalty if you go too wide out through here, but keep it within the boundaries and no troubles through that. We're still in the draft and we line up through Maggots and Beckett's for the final time. Change of direction. He's pretty comfortable there. The car's still feeling really, really good. Tyres are pretty good under us, and we know we've got enough fuel to get home, so we don't have to worry about any of that. Get a good run out of there onto the hangar straight. Still in draft mode, but we're about 5 or 6 car lengths behind now, so pretty well conceded second position. Not happy, not disappointed, I should say, with that. After the opening part of the season we've had, threw away a potential top 10, a podium last week. I binned it into the wall off my own accord, so at this point it's all about points conservation, and pretty happy to come home with the second place. Make our way through the last sequence of corners there, running wide to get a really good run onto the straight, but Travis just beautifully done, does a bit of a drift session there across the line to celebrate, and that just about wraps up 43 laps around the Silverstone GP circuit here in V8 Veterans in our EMU Esports Holden Commodore. So we'll have a look at some of the incidents that occurred throughout the race now. There was quite a few of them, so we'll have a quick run through and have a bit of a look. So lights go green, bit of a wheel spin there, and of course the car gets taily on change of gears. So both Todd and Travis get through there, but we managed to slip back into third, which again certainly couldn't have been much better than that, rather than taking it away and leading it. So a couple of cars here having a little bit of an argument. Jason DiBietto rode on panels with the KFC car, while Quaney has a sneaky look around the outside. So plenty of people in the opening lap driving with their elbows out. But look here at Matty Parker and Quaney having a run through on the opening lap. Quaney getting squeezed up against the sausage curb. A little bit of panel rubbing there, but no love, no foul. Everybody seems to keep going without too much dramas. Do just see Quaney here really ride that red sausage curb on the inside. You can just see how aggressive the car handles those bumps and curves. So Timmy Betts now having a look, trying to make it 3 wide through there, just getting a look squarely under brakes. But was pretty quick to put his hand up and admit fault there, and obviously redressing, which is the right thing to do. And to be honest, a lot of the drivers actually do the right thing within this series. Again, a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact there, but nothing too detrimental to either driver's race. So game on. I'll jump on board with Dave Worrell here now, and a bit of a brake lock-up, and poor old Roy Clark cops a punch in the nose for his troubles. It looks like Dave rejoins there without too much issue, just costing himself a couple of positions and some significant track time. I think lap number 4 here, and Jason Scoulton just has a kiss in his KFC Commodore. Did somebody say KFC? Bit of a hit up against the pit wall there, and you can see Pecky and Wayne here coming together quite early in the race as well. So again, Pecky just sort of sticking his nose in there where it potentially wasn't wanted, but both of them managed to get going. A nice little flick spin here, and a big puff of smoke to turn the car back in the right direction after getting on the throttle too early. We've got Hazy here at the moment, again hard on the brakes, just trying to avoid Reg James in front of him there. Again, relatively early there, so we're trying to make up some positions early in the race. Again, Hazy here, I think this is the next lap, jumps on the accelerator too early and loops it. So he's sitting here waiting for a gap in the traffic, thinks he sees one, and bang, along comes Pitty. And that was a very, very hard hit. So championship leader there, having all sorts of dramas early in this race, but not how he wants to push on with his championship campaign. Pecky and Wayne coming together again, so these two here seem to be joined at the hip this race. But again, a little bit of a kiss and a nudge, and everybody's game on. So Dave Worrell again having a tank slapper coming out of turn 3. Got Sips running quite wide here, leaving the door a little bit open. The WKMP car having a sneaky look down the inside. It's giving Sips a bit of a tap on the rear quarter panel, but he manages to keep the thing pointing in the right direction. We've got Matty Parker here and one of the Taipan Motorsport cars going side by side through that sequence of corners. Nobody wanting to give an inch, but ultimately Matty Parker getting a good run there on the outside, getting the job done. Dave Worrell again, turn number 3. Bit of a brake lock-up, facing the wrong way, but again manages to rejoin after a little bit of a hiccup, getting on the accelerator rather aggressively, and then riding the sausage curb. It cost him a bit of time, but just got to be gentle on that right foot and keep things under control. Again, right of the sausage curb on the inside of turn number 4 there, and the O'Brien, the Commodore, doing a pretty good job there of spinning around and minimising his downtime. So Paul Hayes and Roy Clark here both arguing over a bit of real estate going into the braking zone. So not only one bit of contact, bang, there's the second one there for your trouble. These boys here racking up the incident points pretty early in the race. And this is the moment the safety car was called. So you can see there Parker getting in the back of Aidan Rice. And that was the end result. Motor blown, and a safety car is called. See Sips there making the most of the opportunity there to get down the inside of Parker. Then running wide 3 here, and Parker sticking his nose down the inside and making the position back relatively straight away. So we're back on a green flag racing again here now. Almost a touch up there between the two cars, but Wayne finds himself on the inside, trying to get him squeezed there. contacts made, and I think Wayne lost a fair bit of time out of that. Moving along, big brake lock up in front, and the WKMP car leaves the door wide open. Scotty Weston has a look down the inside, and contacts made, but again you can see Scotty pulling over and trying to redress that position to put his hand up to say he was at fault. Todd Martin there having a spin, finding himself facing the wrong way, and I think this is Timmy Betts and Roy Clark again arguing. So Clarkey getting into the back of him, but then also straightening him up and then sending him off track. So we've got Marlboro versus Marlboro Commodore here, and Wayne just tags the back of Dave going into Dave's favourite corner, turn number 3. See Wayne there sitting there waiting to redress the position again, so I think he was actually penalised for that as well. So no real positions lost other than a heap of track time. But Wayne definitely putting his hand up at fault there. Matty Parker decided to stick it 3 wide through that corner there, cleaning up Quaney and the O'Brien's car on the inside, rubbing his hands together, just leaving the two of them to duke it out. Jump on board with the Banter Alliance Mustang, and Roy Clark putting on a drift show for the fans here at Silverstone tonight. See Wayne here after his second pit stop, exiting the pits, and this is pretty much sums up how poor old Wayne's race went this week. He's normally pretty clean, consistent racer, but tonight things didn't seem to go his way. So Dave Worrell again, back here at his favourite corner, drifting through and finds himself in a tank slapper. He might have to rename that corner after him at this rate, because he's spending a fair bit of time there, but you can see the other Marlboro Commodore making his way through again there as well. So these guys here keep finding each other on track as the race progresses. Matty Parker again with a little bit of a brake lock up, and of course the WKMP car there getting to the back of him, but Matty doing a really good job to get off the racing line without causing anyone any dramas. Again, he's cost himself a little bit of time there, but he got help in the process. So O'Brien's car dropping some wheels off in the dirt again, stick the boot in, when in doubt throttle out, spins back around, loses 2 positions in the process, but very little damage to his car by the looks of things. More contact there. Rear contact going the last couple of corners. Poor Matty Parker finding himself out in the dirt again. Here we have Thomas Freeman in the O'Brien's car, and I think most of us have probably been there, stuck in the fence on pit exit or pit entry before. So quick tow back to the pits for him. This is the point where I think Todd Duggan might have threw away a potential podium. So just to get out on the grass, a little bit of circle work in front of the grandstands for the spectators and the fans. And you can see pretty well Dave Worrell doing a complete copy of what Todd just did there as well. So easy enough to do. Flick spins it the wrong way. Another quick look at how it all unfolded. We're into the dying sections of the race now with the last few laps to go. It's Timmy Betts there, might have been just getting a little bit heavy on the brake throttle. And this one here I think is Quaney and Craig Healy. Craig just taking the back of the Mustang. Quaney doing a pretty good job there to keep it off the wall without any more damage. Reggie James putting on a drift show as well. So you can see quite a few of the... Oh, bang, there goes Peter Latham. Becoming collateral damage there, but you can see a fair bit of the tyres wearing at this point, and a few drivers making a few little mistakes. So Wayne getting a tank slapper on there, I think with a lap and a half to go, putting it into the wall. But his race realistically was probably shot a long time ago. He's just happy to see the checkered flag drop and put this one behind him. And this just about wraps it up. That's the leader there doing a few celebrationary burnouts to celebrate his win. So well done to Travis tonight and Mario for 3rd on the podium. Guys, if you like these videos, these short summaries of how the race went, please leave a comment and hit that subscribe button to the YouTube channel, because it does mean a lot. Keeps the encouragement going for me to make a few more videos, rather than that you guys have to sit there for 2 hours to watch the whole thing live. But again, please hit that subscribe button, please leave a comment below, and particularly if you liked what you saw tonight, and we'll try and get a few more of these done. So, as we say at the end of all our videos, until next time, keep on punching.